Delighted to be here. Really delighted. You know what? It reminds me being here about how lucky I am, how lucky all of us are in this room to work in the creative industries, right? Nurturing and celebrating talent and occasionally catching a little stardust from some of the world's most extraordinary artists, like Robbie Robertson. Okay. It's incredible to consider Robbie's creative path from his early days as a teenager, screaming at the heavens, as he put it in his book, when he practiced so hard that he could hold his own with guys like Levon Helm or Roy Buchanan as a 17-year-old kid. And if there was a better example of the 10,000-hour theory, I don't know it. From there, it's been a lifetime of honing and crafting his gifts and his skills, from songwriting to producing, from acting in films to scoring them, to writing his first best-selling memoir, word for word in longhand. Robbie goes deep, and that's the essence, I think, of true artistry. Robbie's path is rooted in curiosity and craftsmanship, the desire to push himself to see where this thing goes. And he's not only an extraordinary talent himself, he's lent a hand to other Canadian artists like Nelly Furtado, who was signed to DreamWorks while he was the creative director there. He brought in composer Gil Evans to work with Scorsese on The Color of Money, and let's just say that his work with Daniel Lanois has been a meeting of masters. And it's important to mention that Robbie's musical legacy has deep cultural impact. And I don't mean the band, because we're going to hear a lot about that, because they certainly have made deep cultural impact. But I also want to mention his work on projects like Music for Native Americans, or Contact from the Underworld of Red Boy, which was a racial slur that he endured touring the South. They help us understand and hopefully help to reconcile our own cruel hand in Indigenous First Nations history. I've always been struck by Robbie's almost mystic presence, his ability to be present. Of course, that voice doesn't hurt. Those alpha tones can hypnotize you if you're not careful and watching what you're doing. But I remember way back in 1991, I was lumbering around backstage at the Juno Awards when Robbie stopped to say hello and noticed that I was extremely very pregnant. And Robbie may not remember this, but I certainly do. He put his hands in my stomach in that crowded, noisy space backstage. He closed his eyes and he sang, almost chanted, to the baby. Now, I have no idea what he sang, but I swear that kid was born with a musical gift. Mind you, Murray might have had a little to do with that as well. Now, if I could just get him to practice. It's a delight to see you so well honored, Robbie, and I can't possibly capture your immense contribution in a few words. We're going to do that tomorrow at the interview. So let's take a look at what your friends have to say.
As the primary songwriter for the band, Robbie Robertson helped defy the American sound of the 60s and 70s.
I've been blessed to be able to do some things that meant this much to people.
Take a load off Fanny, take a load for free.
Then, as a solo artist and film composer, he ventured into cultural soundscapes and explored his native roots.
Native culture was my earliest introduction to music, and it was what really connected me to music. So I've been carrying around all of this musicality and these stories and ideas and beats and rhythms and all these things all my life.
Come on, man.
He's an author, an actor, and an advocate for Indigenous artists.
Got a brand new house on the roadside.
And it all started for him as a teen in Toronto with the Hawks.
Come on, Robbie, let's take a little walk. Tell me, who do you love?
Hello, Robbie. We've come a long ways in the last 63 years.
I'm doing what I do with a passion, and I make these records because I can't go on breathing until I do this.
I think Robbie's path is rooted in curiosity and craftsmanship. Simply one of the most revered composers, singer-songwriters, storytellers of our time.
The night ain't no Dixie down.
And yeah, of course, because Robbie became very famous and the friendship with Scorsese and the band were this American cause celeb, and The Last Waltz had every great artist living playing it.
It was one of the best times I had in my life, I remember. We just hoped that we caught as many of the songs as we thought we had gotten. We just hoped that we'd gotten all the best of the best.
I see my light come shine.
It was one of those nights that, you just, how many of those do you have in a lifetime?
I grew up with the band, so his is the music of my age, but at the heart of his music are the words, the stories he tells. And his own story is maybe the very best story he's ever written.
Forever young.
We haven't even talked about the fact that when Dylan went on that important tour, he brought Robbie. You don't get to do that unless you're a god.
Oh, this is sure stirring up some ghosts for me.
He's received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, won several Junos, been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Canadian Walk of Fame, and was ranked by Rolling Stone as one of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time.
You don't stand a chance.
In a musical sense, you're taking this as far as you can take it with sound.
So when people talk about the greats, Dylan, Bruce, Loretta, they bow to Robbie Robertson.
You're still there, huh?
Still as busy as ever, Robbie Robertson is working on a new solo record, a 50th anniversary edition of the band's seminal album, Music from the Big Pink, and a sequel to his 2016 memoir.
I don't believe it's all for nothing.
As a poet, songwriter, novelist, and even an A&R man, you've led the path for Canadian artists for decades now. And as an international leader, we're proud to call you one of our own.
He is not only an inspiration, he's a role model, and he's an ambassador for Haudenosaunee people, but for all Indigenous people.
He's just made so many people so happy with his music, Canadian Music Week. Right on, right on. Hey, Robbie.
Hi, Robbie. Congratulations on your Lifetime Achievement Award. So well done. It's very much deserved. Sending you lots of love from the West Coast.
Keep rocking, and remember, all that money that you're gonna make, I get 10%.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good night. Goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Robbie Robertson. Oh, there you are. You snuck up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. This is such a lovely celebration of music, of Canada. I think Neil does it really good, you know. I am thrilled for this honor, and it's just when Canada has been so generous to me over the years of celebrating the music and celebrating what I've done with awards and everything. And just when I thought they didn't have any more, Neil came up with a new one, and I'm very appreciative. But this is, what have they got back there? I want some of that. You know? This is a Lifetime Achievement Award, and usually when they give you a Lifetime Achievement Award, it's because they're thanking you for what you did. And as it turns out, this year is one of the busiest years of my life. I've just finished a new solo record that I think it's some of the best work that I've ever done. And this record connects to the score that I've done for The Irishman, Martin Scorsese's new movie, which is extraordinary. And it also connects to a documentary that they're making inspired on my book. And Randy Lennox, my old buddy Randy Lennox, and Bell Media and White Pines, they're the ones that launched this. And now they're hooked up with Imagine Entertainment in the States, and they are doing an amazing job on this. It is also the 50th anniversary of the band album, and we're putting together that package, and I just remixed all the music with Bob Clearmountain. And I am in the midst of writing volume 2 of my autobiography. So other than that, I'm just kicking around, just seeing what happens. But anyway, this is so lovely, and I really deeply appreciate it. And anytime we celebrate Canada, my hood, it's okay with me. So thank you very, very much.
Robbie Robertson, everybody!